Alright guys, this is Antonio with Signia Card Gaming. We're here at Locals, and I'm here with Marc, who created a fun version of Invoked, and he's just going to introduce it to us today.
Yes. First, my English is not that good, but I will try my best so you can understand me. My deck is a very fun deck, and it consists mainly of 4 different parts. First, the Kaijus, second, the Windwitch engine, third, the Invoked engine, and fourth, the Spellbook engine. And here are some traps, but I'll come to that later. Let's start with the Kaijus. I'll play 2 Kyoto Beach, whatever it is called in English. This is the main field spell. It lets you search every Kaiju you want if it has 3 counters. It can protect your Kaijus, and it allows you to use your Kaiju's effects. And some of the Kaiju effects are really good. So next, I'll play 1 Kaiju Slumber because it's on 1. It would be very good on 3, but sadly it's limited, so I played only 1. Next, I use 2 of the Wind Kaijus. I use this 2 times because when I use my Windwitch, I'm only allowed to summon wind monsters, so I use this 2 times so that I can make a Crystal Ring and Kaiju my opponent at the same time. Next, I'm going for 2 Doggerons. I mainly play this because it has no effects during your opponent's turn, because you can only use this effect with Kaiju counters during your own turn, and it has very weak defense stats, so I can flip it down with my Invoked Windwitch and run it over with my Gamashula with my Windwitch, so I can get rid of him, so my opponent can never use him. I play the Earth Kaiju only 1 time because it's pretty situational. It has a better lose 1 turn effect, so it can come in handy, but I only use it once because you don't need it very often. For the big Kaijus, I play 1 Thunder Dragon Kaiju. He's very nice. He can, if you remove 3 Kaiju counters, your opponent can't use any effects or cards for the rest of this turn, and it can attack 3 monsters on your opponent's side of the field. So it can be really nice for OTKs, and it's a light target for Mekaba. Then I'll use the other light Kaiju, Shizukiru, 1 time. Here's the effect: if any card is targeted, no matter on the field or in the graveyard, even your opponent's graveyard, you can remove 3 Kaiju counters, negate that effect, and you can destroy 1 card on the field without targeting. So it's a really strong Kaiju. It has big body, good defense stats, and it's another light target for Mekaba. Then I'm going with my my favorite Kaiju, Gamashula. He has a very strong effect, and you can remove 2 Kaiju counters to negate any spell, trap, or monster effect your opponent tries to use and banish that card. It's not once per turn, and with your field spell, it can have 5 counters at a time, so it has 2 negations, and it always gets more counters if cards on the field are sent to the graveyard. So normally this card has 3 negations, and that's really nice. It's pretty deadly if you get this out. So, and for last one, it belongs to the Kaijus. I play Grand Mole. I don't have many good normal summons in this deck except Leicester and Blue Boy, so I use 1 Grand Mole because it's non-targeting removal, and you can remove your own Kaijus from the field to get them to your hand and to get rid of them. So you can use them again and you still have them in your hand. So Grand Mole is, in my opinion, a pretty good one-off. Okay. Let's continue with the Windwitch engine. It's pretty standard 3 ice spell because you want to open with her, and the 2 class spells and the 1 snowball because normally you don't want to open with them, you want to draw this one, and then you can go into Crystal Ring. So, for the Invoked Force, I of course use 3 times Magical Meltdown. It searches your Leicester, and that's really nice. You always want to see him because your invoked cards are the most part of the deck. You have your Kaijus and you have your Windwitch, but Invoke do most of the work. And so you can every turn fusion summon again, so you really have to have 1 Leicester. So for that reason I use 3 Leicesters, of course, because I want to see him. Then I use the 2 Invocations. I use 2 because of the new Link monster if I want to search a second one, and if 1 invocation should die for whatever reason, I have a second one in my deck. That can be pretty nice. Or if a Leicester gets negated with Strike, I can still use him if I have an invocation in my hand. Then I use 2 Terraformings. It's on 2 now, and that's why I only played at 2. It can search your Meltdown for a Leicester, or it can search your Kyoto Town, as you wish. Then I used the 1 Book of Lore because you can search this with the new Invoked Link monster. and I included one super polymerization. It's really nice, but I'll come to that later when I show my extra deck. For the spellbook engine, I use 2 spellbook of knowledge and 2 spellbook of secrets, and only 1 blue boy. You don't need a blue boy that often because normally you normal a Leicester and then you can use knowledge on a Leicester. That's why I only include 1 blue boy if I don't have a Leicester already in my hand. That's where I need him. So 1 is enough and dispose on 2. And for some traps, because I don't want to play Busted hand traps like Ash or Tron Lockbird, I use normal traps, not hand traps. I use the Solemn Warning because it's on 1, it's really nice. The 1 Solemn Judgment because it's on 1, and 2 strikes. Normally you could side this out and do hand traps if you go second and so, but I don't have any hand traps, so I use these traps. And they do really good if you go first. For the extra deck, I'll use 1 Eliza, the Invoker of Madness. It's really good to extend your plays because in Link format you're only allowed to have 1 extra deck monster, and Kaiju say you can only have 1 Kaiju at one time at the field. So to extend your plays, if you have both already, he can be really nice because he can give you 2 fusions, he can search your Book of Lore, and he's a really good addition to the deck. So, for the invoked fusions, let's start with the Windwitch. These are the Windwitch targets, 2 times Winterbell and 1 time Crystal Ring. I use 2 because I could go into the second one and burn my opponent for 1,400 life points, because if I only have 1 and I have another Ice Spell in my hand, the second one is dead and I don't like that. I like to have 2 of them. So, now for my invoked, I use 3 times the Mecha Bar just because it's the best one and you want to use them almost always of the time. Then I'll use 1 water target because I play Gamashil and it can be really nice to play for the Sky Strikers because it can't be targeted and it can't be destroyed by card effects and it can attack in defense position, so it can be a nice one-off. I'll use the Stone for some reason. I like all Invoked Fusions, that's why I play him. And if your opponent has an important Earth target in their graveyard, you can remove it by summoning this. I don't use it often, but I still like it. Then I'll use 2 Purgatory. I have plenty of space, that's why I use 2 fire targets. It can boost himself, it can do pretty nice OTKs, and it deals piercing damage. Because I have Windwitch in my deck, I always play a Raging at 2. He's really nice because he can flip your Kaijus you gave your opponent face down, and then you can run him easily over because some of them have low defense stats. Then I'll use the 2 darkness targets, the 2 Kaliga. If you can't go in your makeup of first turn, or if you can't go into your Crystal Ring, he can be pretty nice because he says your opponent can only attack with 1 monster during the battle phase, and your opponent can only use one monster effect each turn. So it can be a good stall card, so you can survive the second turn. And I played 1 Elysium. He's pretty good because you can summon him pretty easily with your Invoker of Madness, because he will search you another invocation and you can use him and the invoked monster in your graveyard to summon him. I don't explain his effect now, but he's very good. And I introduced the super polymerization earlier. Let me check, just a second. There. Super polymerization lets you discard 1 card and lets you fusion summon a fusion monster with monsters from the field only, but you can use your opponent's monster. So this card needs 1 invoked fusion, you almost always have an invoked fusion, and 1 monster that is summoned from the extra deck. So during your opponent's turn you can fusion summon this card with super polymerization. He can't negate it because it's spell speed 4 and it's non-targeting removal. That's really, really nice. So I really recommend super polymerization, it's a very good tech card. And his effect is he can tribute he can banish an invoked fusion monster from your field or from your graveyard and banish all of your opponent's monsters with the same attribute. And he can even tribute himself, and he counts as every attribute except divine. So he banishes your opponent's entire field. So you have non-targeting move during your opponent's turn, and you can tribute him to banish your opponent's entire field if he still should have any threats on his board. And go off next turn with your full basically. So, and I would say that's it. I hope you enjoy it, and yes, have a nice day.
Thanks for watching, guys.